classified as meristematic permanent tissues. So meristematic tissues or dividing tissues, that is dividing cells, permanent tissues or non-dividing cells. And permanent tissue can be classified further as protective tissue, supporting tissue and conducting tissue. So supporting tissue of three types: parenchyma, collenchyma, sclerenchyma. And conducting tissue is also called as vascular tissue, is of two types: xylem and phloem. Xylem responsible for transporting the water and minerals absorbed by the root from the soil, and phloem transporting the food materials that is prepared in the leaves to the other parts of the plant. And we have seen about the components of xylem and phloem. So these are the things we have covered in the plant tissue. We are going to see about animal tissue. So animal tissue, likewise, how we classify the plant tissue. Animal tissues or also have main kinds. So the main kinds of animal tissues are as follows: epithelial tissue, connective tissue, muscle tissue and neural tissue. So all these four kinds combined together forms the animal tissue. We are going to see about epithelial tissue. So we are going to see about epithelial tissue. If you see this epithelial tissue, it's a thin, protective, continuous sheet of cells. There won't be any breakage in this tissue. So it is a continuous sheet of cells. Where you can find this epithelial tissue? These tissues are found on the surface of body and lines of body cavities and internal organs. So it covers the surface of the body and also the lining of the body cavities and the internal organs, including the blood vessels. Example, skin, the outermost layer of skin. So as I said, it is a continuous sheet of cell. The very best example you can take is the outermost layer of the skin. Okay. And what is the shape of this tissue? So it is flat, cuboidal or polygonal. So it may be in flat shape, it is cuboidal in shape or polygonal in shape. What is the function of this epithelial tissue? So this epithelial tissue is for protection, as on skin. Okay, protection as on skin, absorption, secretion as in intestine, sensory perception, etc. Okay, so these are the different functions performed by this epithelial tissue. One important note: the cells of the epithelial tissue fit tightly together. Okay, so there won't be any intercellular space between the cells. So they are tightly packed without any space. Okay, and these epithelial cells are categorized as follows: squamous epithelium, stratified epithelium, cuboidal epithelium, columnar epithelium. So again I will repeat it. Please listen to carefully, children. Squamous epithelium, stratified epithelium, cuboidal epithelium, columnar epithelium. So now let's see detailedly about all these four types of epithelial tissues. Squamous epithelium tissue. So if you see, these tissues are composed of cells which are thin, flat with prominent nuclei. Okay, it has a prominent nuclei within it. Okay, so it is thin, flat. They are composed of cells which are thin, flat with prominent nuclei. These type of squamous epithelium are found in lining of mouth and nasal cavities, blood vessels and lymph vessels. So where you can find this? You can find these type of squamous epithelium in the lining of mouth and nasal cavities, blood vessels and lymph vessels. What is the main function of this squamous epithelium? So it is going to protect these parts from the mechanical injury, from germs and from harmful chemicals and drying up. So these were the structure, location and function of the squamous epithelium cell. So I have given you the structure here. Next, stratified epithelium. So the stratified epithelium found in the skin and the cornea. So skin we very well know. Cornea, it is a transparent region present in the eye. That is, it is going to cover the front portion of the eye. Okay. So it is a transparent region of the eye. So the stratified epithelium cells are found in skin and cornea. So this stratified epithelial cell consists of several layers of same and different kinds of epithelial cells. So can you able to see the structure given here? So this is what the stratified epithelial cell. Next, cuboidal epithelium. It's found in some parts of kidney tubules and in glandular ducts such as those of salivary glands and pancreatic duct. So these type of epithelium are cuboidal in shape. Can you able to see the highlighted circle portions there? So it's a cuboidal in shape. Okay, so this is a cuboidal epithelial cell. Next is columnar epithelium. So this type of epithelial cell contains vertically arranged cylindrical or brick like cell. Can you able to see the image over there, children? So if you see, it just like a brick arranged over there. Okay, so this was cylindrical or brick like cells arranged vertically, and these cells are usually tall in size. Columnar epithelium, they are found in the inner lining of stomach and intestines. So you can classify this columnar epithelium in two different kinds: ciliated columnar epithelium and glandular epithelium. So two types: ciliated columnar epithelium. Next we are going to see ciliated columnar epithelium. So these type of cells, the ciliated epithelium, are found in the lining of trachea. Trachea, in the sense it's a windpipe which is present in the respiratory system. So these type of epithelial cells, that is ciliated epithelial cells, are found in the lining of trachea. Why it is called as ciliated epithelium? Because of the presence of air-like projections. Can you able to see in the picture given here air-like projections on the top of the cell? Okay, so the cells of ciliated epithelium have a thread-like protoplasmic projections called cilia at their free ends, and hence it is called as ciliated columnar epithelium. So what is the function of this epithelium? The cilia constantly keep lashing and move the materials which enter these regions. Okay, the unwanted things, the unwanted materials are lashed out by using this cilia. So this is about the ciliated columnar epithelium. Next we are going to see about glandular epithelium. Also, this glandular epithelium is also a kind of columnar epithelium. This epithelium contains large cells which is involved in secreting some chemical substances. So these type of cells are found in lining of stomach and the intestine. At certain places in the body, the glandular epithelium is folded inward to form a compact hollow or tubular glands. So glandular, it's going to fold inward side, that is inner side, and it's going to form a compact hollow or tubular glands, so which is involved in secretion of chemical substances. The best examples: sweat glands, tear glands, or the liver. Okay, so these are the examples for glandular epithelial cells. So this is all about the epithelial tissue. So epithelial tissue, it is a thin protective continuous sheet of cells which can be classified as squamous epithelium, stratified epithelium, cuboidal epithelium, and columnar epithelium. Columnar epithelium further classified as ciliated columnar epithelium and glandular epithelium. Next we are going to see about the connective tissue. The connective tissue binds one tissue with another and also connects various organs. So it is going to bind one tissue with another tissue, and also it's going to connect the various organs. So this connective tissue can be classified as follows: connective tissue proper, that is binding organs, supportive tissue, cartilages and bones, fluid connective tissue, blood and lymph. The connective tissue have three important characteristics. What are they? First one, abundance of intercellular substance. So together it is called as the matrix. Okay, it has abundance of intercellular substances. It's a matrix. And fewer cellular elements. It contains only fewer cellular elements, and it has fibers. Okay, so abundance of intercellular substance, the matrix, fewer cellular elements and fibers. So these are the three characteristics of connective tissue. Next is, we are going to see about connective tissue proper. Okay, so connective tissue proper, it serves for packing and binding the organs. As I said before, this is for packing and binding the organs. So this connective tissue is three subcategories. One is areolar, it's a packing tissue. Adipose, it is a fat containing tissue. Fibrous, connective tissue. So these are the three subcategories of connective tissue proper. What is this areolar tissue? This areolar tissue, it's present beneath the epidermis of the skin. So where it is present? It is present beneath the epidermis of the skin, and it makes the skin elastic and helps it to withstand pulling strain. So it is going to give the elasticity to the skin. Okay, so it is present beneath the epidermis of the skin. It makes the skin elastic and helps in withstand pulling the strain. Adipose tissue, fat. So these cells which store fat, adipose tissue stores the fat, and this tissue forms padding under the skin and around kidneys, eyeball, etc. Okay, so these tissue forms the padding under the skin and around the kidneys, eyeball, etc. Next is fibrous connective tissue. It is made up of elongated cells. Okay, these fibrous connective tissues are made up of elongated cells. So such type of cells are referred as fibers. So they are strong and bundled together. Okay, these fibrous tissues are strong and they are bundled together by areolar tissue. And they form the tendons which connect muscle to bone and ligaments which connect bone to bone. So this fibrous connective tissue forms two types. One is tendon, another one is ligaments. Tendons, which is going to connect the muscle to bone, and ligaments, which is going to connect bone to bone and hold them in position. So this is what the function of fibrous connective tissue. Next is supportive connecting tissue. The supporting tissue has two subcategories: cartilage, bone. Cartilage, it is a non-porous tissue. It's a non-porous tissue, and the intercellular substance are thickened. Okay, the cartilages are non-porous tissue. Intercellular substance are thickened. That is, as I said in the characteristics of connective tissue, intercellular substance, they are called as matrix. Okay, so these cartilages are non-porous and it has a thickened intercellular substance, matrix, and it has no blood vessels or nerves. Cartilages are not connected with any type of blood vessels or nerves, and they are semi-transparent and elastic in nature. Okay, these cartilages are semi-transparent and elastic in nature. Where you can find this cartilages? You can find these cartilages in the tip of the nose, external ears, trachea and bronchial tubes. And it can be also found in between the vertebrae and at the ends of the long bones. So these are some places where you can find these cartilages. Next is bone. It is a porous, hard porous tissue, just opposite to the cartilage. Cartilage is a non-porous, bone is a hard porous tissue. It has blood vessels and nerves, but cartilage, it does not have the blood vessels and nerves. So bone, it has blood vessels and nerves, and it consists of both living cells called osteoblast and a rigid mass of inorganic salts. So osteoblast means the bone which is going to contain the living cells that is called osteoblast, and it contains a rigid mass of inorganic salts. So this is what about the cartilage and bones. Next is fluid connective tissue. So this has two subcategories, blood and lymph. Blood is composed of two main parts. So this we have studied in our lower class itself. Blood, it is two cellular parts. One is plasma, another one is cellular parts. Okay, it's composed of two parts. Liquid part is called plasma, and the cellular part is red blood cells, white blood cells, and platelets. So liquid part, it's a plasma. Cellular parts again classified as three groups: RBC, red blood corpuscles; WBC, white blood corpuscles; and platelets. Okay, next is lymph. This is a fluid surrounding the body cells. Lymph is a fluid surrounding the body cells. So it contains white blood cells and not the red blood cells. This lymph contains WBC cells, not the RBC cells. Both blood and lymph are mainly concerned with transportation and immunity. So if you take the function of this blood and lymph, the main function is transportation and immunity. So here I have given the picture of adipose tissue, areolar tissue, compact bone connective tissue, blood connective tissues. Okay, so I have given the picture of all the subcategories of connective tissues. We are going to see about muscle tissues. Muscle tissue, it forms the muscles of the body. What it's going to form? It's going to form the muscles of body. Muscles can contract and relax. Okay, muscles can contract and relax. Thus, these muscle tissues are help the body in its movements. Okay, so muscle tissue, it forms the muscles of the body. It can contract and relax, and they help in the movement of the body. Again, this muscle tissue can be subcategorized into three kinds: striated muscle, unstriated, cardiac. Okay, striated muscle, the skeletal, striped and voluntary muscle; unstriated, smooth, unstriped and involuntary muscle; cardiac muscle, heart. If you take striated, it is under the control of the will. So it's a voluntary muscle that we can control by ourselves. Okay, they are made up of long fibers which are nucleated and striated. Light and dark bands runs across the fibers. So it has a stripes over the cells. Okay, and that's what it is, a striated muscle. And this muscle moves only when you want it to. Okay, when you want to move some particular muscle, that time only these muscles are going to move. So that's what it is, a voluntary type of muscle. They constitute about 50% of the body weight. Okay, so this type of striated muscles gives a 50% of the body weight, and these muscles are found in the arms, legs, face, neck, etc. Okay, next is unstriated. They are not under the control of the will. So it is an involuntary muscle. Okay, they are smooth muscles. They are involuntary, which we cannot control by ourselves, and they are unstriped. They are unstriped muscle. So they are made up of spindle shaped tapering cells which are uninucleated. So can you able to see the smooth muscle picture in middle? The first one is skeletal muscle, that is striated muscle, and the next the smooth muscle, that is unstriated, and the last one is cardiac muscle. So can you able to see the tapering at both the ends, the smooth muscles? Yeah. So the tapering cells which are uninucleated, they are found in the walls of intestines, helping in the passage of food, muscles of iris of the eye, lining of blood vessels, urinary bladder, uterus, etc. Okay, so these smooth cells are involuntary. They are unstriped, found in the inner walls of the intestine, iris of the eye, skin, lining of blood vessels, urinary bladder, uterus, etc. Next is cardiac muscles. So cardiac muscles are also involuntary in function and found only in the walls of the heart. Okay, so cardiac muscles, they are also a involuntary in function. They are found in the walls of the heart. They are striated, uninucleated and branched. Okay, they are striated, uninucleated and they are branched. Can you able to see the picture? The branches? Yeah. So they are relatively short. They can contract without outside stimulation. That's what it's a involuntary muscle. And they do not get tired soon. They do not get tired soon. So this is what about the cardiac muscle. Next, neural nervous tissue. It constitutes the nervous system. Okay, neural nervous tissue which constitute the nervous system. This tissue is made up of specialized elongated cells called neurons. Okay, so the unit of nervous system is neurons. So they are made up of elongated cells called neurons. Each nerve cell consists of a cell body. Is called cyton. The cell body is called as cyton. Also it is called as perikaryon. Okay, cyton or perikaryon. Okay, so the nerve cell consists of a cell body called cyton or perikaryon containing the nucleus. So can you able to see the cell body and nucleus in the given picture? And they have a one or more elongated air-like extensions called dendrites or dendrons. So the hair-like extensions are called dendrons. One of these, the axon, okay, the long extension which continues next to the cyton is the axon. Axons bundled together form a nerve. Okay, axons are bundled together which forms a nerve. So the nerve tissue is concerned with the perception and response of animals. So the function is perception and response of animals. Okay, so this is what the structure and function of neural nervous. So we'll have a summary here. Animal tissue, it's classified as epithelial, muscular, connective, nervous tissue. Epithelial tissue is a squamous, stratified, columnar, ciliated, cuboidal, glandular. Muscle tissue, striated, non-striated, cardiac. Connective tissue proper, this is further classified as areolar, adipose, fibrous. Supportive tissue, further classified as cartilage, bone, and fluid connective tissue, blood, lymph. Okay, so these all about the animal tissues. So children, with this chapter is getting over, animal tissue and plant tissue. So I think you all understood and the concept is clear. If you have any doubts, you just mark it and keep. Go through your book and try to finish all the progress check and review questions given in this chapter. And very soon I'll send you the worksheet regarding the topics whatever we have complete till date. And with this, our botany is getting over. Okay, with this chapter our botany is getting over, and next we have to start with the zoology. So very soon I'll meet you with the next new chapter through online live class. Okay, so thank you, stay home, stay safe, have a nice day.